Greetings, humanity. We have returned to the cold ruins of Lastlife. It is in fact happening. Yay!
Been 36 years.
Yes, it's been at least 36 years, possibly 37. I'm not completely sure. I lost count at some point around the start of the third decade. So it has been a while since we have done this. Unfortunately, Lloyd could not be with us again today, as we seem to have a strange sort of scheduling ping pong thing that I'm only available every other week, and then we only seem to be able to have 3 players at any one time. But we shall persevere and continue doing this glorious thing, one way or the other. I am Jim. I use he/him pronouns, and I am playing Gregor, the spectral paladin, who is got a lot on his plate right now. A lot to do, a lot to think about. He also uses he/him pronouns, and we will go over to Charlie. Hello.
Hi, I'm Charlie. I play Auden. We're both she/her. Yeah, that's all I got for you for this introduction, friend.
No worries.
Just a blank slate over here.
That's all right. That's good. It's good to have a cleansed mind, ready to have other terrible things written on it. And let us move over to Rachel.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rachel. I use she/her pronouns. Today, I am playing our resident bog mummy, Sivna, who uses they/them pronouns.
And then we shall hand things over to our GM, Mathias.
Hi, I'm Mathias. Hey, him. And yeah, we will soon find out what you did for the last 36/37 years.
Oh, yeah.
Tracking through the wastelands of the cold ruins of Lastlife. Before we get into that, though, one thing is we've got like safety tools set up. We have a document with lines and veils. A line is something that will never come up in this game, and a veil is something that we won't linger on, something where we fade to black on. And we've got the X and an O card in play. The X card is for should we come across something that one of us doesn't want in the game at all, you can X card it, going like this, or typing an X in chat, or saying, I want to X card that. We roll back a bit, take the narrative in another direction, no explanation required. The N card is for should we be approaching something that might be a line or a sensitive subject, to alert everyone that might be the case, so we can play with like some heightened awareness of each other, checking in with each other. And to actually check in with each other, we can use the O card as a query, right? O card, either like that or like O question mark in chat, or in an affirmative way. Yes, I might be looking like I'm having a really tough experience right now, but I'm here for it. I'm enjoying this play. I want to go down further. Go down this route further. We can do that with the O card. Okay. I think that being said, I'm gonna read you a little bit to start us out with. Also, like, it's been a while. Let's get back in the mood, right? A towering edifice with parapets and buttresses with stained glass windows, powerful and strong, impregnable. A magnificent construction, both beautiful and formidable, its true purpose lost. But one can only imagine that it was the center of a vast kingdom in the days before the end. Now, although all its towers still stand, while its windows are still whole, while the building still seems to have withstood the end, it is a ruin. Denizens of Lastlife feel it, simply upon approach. A place that has outlived itself. A still place, quiet and dusty. Its cavernous halls darkened, its paintings dulled, its windows shadowy. Its portcullis stands open, and its doors unlocked. Walking through it produces the feeling of nothing so much as melancholic absence, lost memory and truth. The denizens of Lastlife still in this castle believe themselves to be living in the days from before the end. They carry on with rituals that are now meaningless. They prepare food from dust and groom themselves in moldy clothes. They put on gaudy fragments of jewelry. They have no memory of what happened, no memory of even who they truly are. They simply repeat ad infinitum. That's Castle Oblivion. As we fly through it, through its gates and around it, and we see in a not too distant, not too far away, a full war host camping in front of it. And as we cut to the war host and move through it, I want to go around, and because this is a war host of all undead, right? So they don't need to put up tents, maybe fires to sit at, but they don't cook anything at the fires. We can see that, like, or we let's have a look at that. Also, what kind of undead are lingering about here? They might just be standing there in like rank and file even. What do you all think?
Depends on whose host it is.
I mean, it is your host, yes.
Okay. They are not rank and file because they are not trained soldiers for the most part. They're less an army and more of a war band. It's very community based, depending on how much they remember, obviously. But it'll be those gatherings around campfires, and it's not music that they're making, but there's some sort of exchange going on to prepare, and it's rhythmic, and maybe it's people striking, dragging whetstones along the blades of their swords, but almost in time with each other, or other weapons, splitting wood to make arrows, the wrapping of twine and sinew around the sharp edges of flint and steel to make arrowheads, and binding those to the shafts of arrows. It's mechanical and organic at the same time, like practiced and yeah. Apparently I can't describe things very well today.
It's about getting into those things. So yeah, it's good. I like it. A detail from the other two?
Well, this actually leads me to ask about a point of clarification that I realized I did not have in a notice that I received recently regarding the in-between activities and where and how everyone is. So.
Yeah, let's get to that in a moment. This was more about like what does a undead army host look like?
If they are working on weaponry, there might be fires to help with if they have any blacksmiths with them. So sort of portable forges, that kind of thing. So I'm imagining there being hammering on steel or whatever there is that's available to try to reforge and repair weapons. There is the potentially the shoeing of undead horses, which I can only imagine is slightly easier than shoeing living horses.
It's harder.
Is it harder?
Well, because
they hate it even more.
They're madder. They're madder than
Yeah,
the
There's
living
a
horse.
lot of sloughing involved as well.
Yeah.
Really messy.
They get spooked by their own bones.
Yeah.
I do not like it.
But do you even need to shoe a undead horse?
Well, if they...
Oh geez, my lower jaw dropped to the floor.
They
Well,
may
here's
think
the
they
thing.
need to, I'm not sure.
They might not need to, but the people who are shoeing them feel that they should,
Yes.
right?
It doesn't really help the horse walk so much as it just makes the person doing the shoeing feel better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's less for the horse and more for the farrier.
Yeah.
I like that.
I was gonna say, like, there would definitely be sort of a nostalgic, like, camaraderie.
Like an instinctual one.
Yeah.
So is this like maybe a couple sit around like the one of the fires that are not being used anymore, and a couple of undead just like settle down around it, like toast each other with empty hands, that kind of thing.
I feel like a little more stilted, but it would still be there because it would just be instinctual to them.
Yeah. Nice.
Like people holding instruments that don't have strings anymore,
Yeah.
and their hands like forming the chords, and like strumming in time, but there's nothing there to make the music.
People playing into wind instruments without having the breath to do so.
Or like without like the reeds
Yeah.
or like,
Whittling some bone.
It's all percussion. That's all we can really hear.
yeah.
And it's definitely a weird soundscape, yes. Moving through there. And then there is in the center of the warband, there is one tent set up. And a couple of 100 feet above it is, it's almost like a point of light, but it's more reflection floating above everything. And that's definitely something noticeable. And yeah, and because we haven't played for so long and there were like lots of questions of what is actually happening and going on, I wrote my players some love letters, which we'll be going through at the start here. And I had a sequence thought out. Yes. Oh, we didn't really do a recap from last time, but
A lot happened.
a lot happened, and we kind of ended up in the same state, yeah, that we started on, separated.
Yes.
Like everyone was brought together, and then you were separated again.
Thanks, Legionnaire. Love
Yeah,
your impulse decisions.
but we'll. I think the love letters will get us up to some speed at least. And if there's like questions because there's like people named that we don't remember, we can clear that up as we go along. I think I'd like to start with Sivna.
Wonderful. Yeah. Let me just pull that up real fast.
Yeah, just read it to us, and then we can talk about it. And you don't need to make a decision or roll yet.
Dear Sivna, with the Legionary, you traveled the vast tunnels and caverns under the brittle crust of Lastlife's surface, coming across many ruins and broken achievements of a world long gone, the deeper ways freshly flooded. This is how you came upon the Ixithris Cathedral of the Many Song. This name is known to the denizens of Lastlife, all of them, ensconced within their minds for reasons unknown to them. The Ixithris Cathedral of Many Song. As soon as your dry and ruined eyes beheld its spires and depths, you knew it. You felt it. Walking through the cathedral, echoes of songs drifted gently through the air, emanating from the engraved walls of the cathedral itself, the Many Song. The walls of the cathedral hold within them echoes, memories of every single song that the halls have ever heard. The cathedral is a monument to the songs of the days before the end, but the decay of Lastlife has not left the cathedral untouched. The notes soured. They turned bitter, cold. They lost their luster. Beautiful chords strung together as pearls became discordant. The music grows faint and dies, strands of the Many Song disappearing. To walk through the cathedral is to be filled with the pain of what once was, and to hear it die with each passing, still moment. But through it, you found your way back to the surface, and this is how you reunited with the host at the foot of Castle Oblivion. And then roll plus wisdom to see with what changes you bring as you walk into the general's tent that has been set up. On a 10 plus, choose 3. On a 7 to 9, choose 2. You did not have to end the fiddler's on life. Is he still on the loose, or how did you manage to quiet his quest for the maestro's violin? You freed the audience of the Many Song from listening to the choir in the cathedral. They follow you now. They are a well-armed bunch of individuals that can release the Many Song in a short, stone-shattering burst. You remember something of the world that was. Tell us about it. Why is it of importance for what you are doing in Lastlife now? Take a point in memory. You found new resolve. What vision for the future of Lastlife is gently blossoming in you? Take a point in radiance. And the last one is you formed an additional bond with the Legionnaire. What happened to the two of you? Added to your character sheet in addition to the one you are carrying. On a miss, still choose one, but strike off an advancement in both memory and radiance. Tell us why the attack on Castle Oblivion will only bring despair, but why the attack on but why you still go forward with it. In reverie and contemplation, your GM. You're muted. I can't hear you.
Yeah. Any questions immediately that need to be cleared up there?
Did I say Ixithris right?
Yeah, I'm gonna say yes. Because I have no idea how to pronounce it either. I think, yeah, and I think we see you basically walking between the undead, arriving at the general's tent. I think wherever you step, we definitely see those hollowed, not snap to attention, but awake and become more lively, follow you with their gaze. You want to roll now, or shall we wait?
Yeah, I'm okay with rolling now.
Yeah, so you can have
Let's do this. I just click my wisdom button in the middle there. Okay, because usually it's rolling with something.
That's a 6.
So I love that, and everything is awesome in my heart and my life.
Take XP.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Before you choose, you might want to hear what the others have had going on.
Yeah. Let's do that.
Let's go to Auden next. Would you read your letter for us?
Yeah. I don't know how to pronounce half of these things, but I'm gonna give it a go. Dear Auden, when the host was attacked by the Seraph, you saved it from obliteration. Was it through your magic, by sheer clout of being the Lady of Ice that you are, or through some other deeper means unbeknownst until now? Whatever it was, you learned that the Seraph of Travar herself, she was once one of the greatest heroes the world had ever seen. Her legends glowed throughout the history of the world before the cataclysm. She lived a noble life, and she died a saint. When she was resurrected into a massive suit of armor designed to give her greater power than she had ever had before, impregnable with wings of steel and the hammer the size of a building, her soul pulled from whatever paradise, I don't know, I can't even pronounce that word, afterlife in which it had found peace, was forced into the armor. They thought they were serving their people. They thought they were reviving a great hero that they needed. Instead, they were creating a destroyer. They tried to undo their work, and they buried her armor. But when the cataclysm struck the world, she was brought back again, and she rose into the air, screeching in pain and rage and grief, to strike down the world that she had saved, and the world that had so thoroughly betrayed her. Whatever you did, it spared the host of her wrath for now. She is hovering as a point of light hundreds of feet above the general tent, marking the presence of the war host as you enter for the council. And do you want me to read off all these options, or leave it be for...
Yes, please.
Okay. Roll plus intelligence to see what insight you bring to it. On a 10 plus, choose 3. On a 7 and 9, choose 2. And the choices are: in your parley with the Seraph, you did not promise to deliver her formal guardian, Sivna, for destruction. Learning of her past, you let you put things together about the world that was. What do you realize about the cataclysm or the life you had that will be relevant now? Take one memory and tell us about it. By reining in the Seraph, you gain insight into the potential still to be found in the people of Lastlife. What have you realized, and how do you think you can put it to use in the upcoming struggle? Take one radiance. You've learned from her about the might sword that possessed Welder and devours them into the service of the old queen. How did she tell you about this? Was it a warning or in disdain? Ask anything you like at the time about this foe. You learned about Gregor's order, and the crystalline orb, which has the infant ruler enclosed. What did you realize about them, and why have you kept that knowledge to yourself? Take 1 XP. On a miss, don't choose one, but strike off an advancement in both memory and radiance. Tell us why the attack on Castle Oblivion will only bring deeper despair, but why you will still go forward with it all. In all and disquiet, your GM. I cannot believe how badly I read that aloud. I'm sorry. I felt like I was in 6th grade all over again. But yeah, that's a lot of dope stuff happening.
Well, potentially, right? Thank you for reading that. I'll also post these in a second, so you can everybody can read everyone's, because there's just potential information in here that's relevant.
I don't want to influence what you choose. I would prefer to be destroyed.
I honestly feel like I have amnesia because I didn't play last time, and the last time I was here, Autumn was dead and coming back to life. Well, on life. So,
What questions do you have? Well, basically PvP happened, but without
we love PvP,
but without any. It was just word PvP. So I hate Gregor now.
Didn't you? I feel like you hated him before. But
I was antagonistic before. So now we're enemies, like for realsies. And what happened was it turned out that Klain, the one who killed you, and me were war buddies.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yes. And we were also entrusted the guardianship of a child who I found in my dead mother's home upon her death. That had been mostly burned down to the ground and entrusted to raise her. She is the Seraph. And we had me and Gregor had differing opinions. It is a short way to say it. About the Seraph. And even though we both agreed that we needed to unseat the queen sitting on Castle Oblivion, I was basically like, no one should be sitting on that throne because monarchy is bad. And he's like, but we need to put this egg child on this thing in the egg on it, and then everything will be okay. And I was like, you're an idiot and I hate you. And then I got kidnapped by Legionnaire and we sunk into the... That's what happened.
And that's what you missed on Glee. Great. Sounds like you all had a real great time without me.
Yeah. So there's a couple of questions that'll. So one, here's a picture of the Seraph. Actually,
I want to see her.
I am just glad I apparently said that name correctly because your boy can't read.
Yeah, I think Seraph is actually just another word for angel, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is the kaiju that is currently flying above the host.
Not a kaiju. She's my daughter. So be nice.
And apparently she attacked the host on its way here.
Yeah.
I mean, the host probably deserved it. So.
Well,
I'm gonna convince her not to attack us because she's my girl. She's my daughter.
Okay.
Apparently, though, Auden stepped in to prevent that from happening.
We love a
and
diplomatic queen. All right.
Well, I'd definitely be interested in what you did to make that happen, right? Did you stop it with your magic? Did you
Use your
actually talk to her and talked her down? Or something else? You don't need to decide on the spot. You can also, if you want it to be, keep it a mystery for everyone.
Okay.
Nobody knows, and we might find out later what you actually did.
Okay.
But then, obviously, like Jim might have a question: what do I remember of that? Like, was it just there one day and didn't do anything, or what did I notice about that? So that might be important to think about.
Okay.
At least give us that much context.
Okay.
But you can be free-wheely with that as you like.
All right. You made a roll?
Yeah. See your roll so you can...
Ooh.
That's a 7, so you get to pick 2 of those. And note, some options, if you don't pick them, they come to pass, right? So the wording is kind of key.
Okay.
But in the meantime, let's take it to Gregor. And also I put the all the letters as like plain text, kind of in the journals
Okay.
as well.
Let me go and pull that up here. Oh, wait a minute. You've got them in the journals?
As well, yeah, but not separated, so you need to scroll a bit.
Okay.
I don't think I changed anything in yours.
All
That should
right.
be it, yeah.
Well, this will be interesting. So here we go. Let me see. Actually, let me pull this up here. It'll be easier for me to read this way. There we go. All right. Okay, dear Gregor, you quickly learned how even when the Legionnaire vanished with Sivna into the chasm below, and the earth closing up above them, that the war host seemed to understand where they were and followed them. Whatever is binding them to Sivna holds true, and as you moved deeper and deeper into the mired lands, more and more hollowed rose from the muck. Yet, the distance to Sivna seemingly rendering most of them into lethargic stalkers through these soured lands. Your order, the whole Jetheri,
Jethari?
Yeah. Hold Jethari. Your order, the one that starts with an H, soon joined the host, carrying the Eidolon, your infant ruler, apparently, enclosed in the crystalline orb with them. It seems a singular opportunity to storm Castle Oblivion and seat them on the throne and take down the old queen is presented, if this host is directed in an attack on it. At least this is what your fellow siblings of the Order have realized. Roll plus con to see how you wrangled this discordant armed force under your sole military command as you await the council in your general's tent. On a 10 plus, choose 3. On a 7 to 9, choose 2. Here are the options. You did not have to maim, kill, and or excommunicate the existing leadership of Brethra, Rathis, and Morgaunt. If you do not take this, tell us what you did to each of them and under what circumstances. You were able to fend off the screaming centaurs nipping at the heels of the host and were able to save Alvi and Kling, who had fallen into the same stupor as the rest after Sivna's vanishing, it says.
Hate this.
In your taking of the command, you recalled more about the nature of your purpose and the Order. Tell us about it and take one memory. Under your leadership, you realized how you can reshape and repurpose your Order into something new for Lastlife. What is this new glint of hope you found, and how do you believe to fan into something bright? Take one radiance. You did not have to renew your vow to the Order and pledge yourself to restore the once kingdom and take the star of the whole Jetheri upon your head. Do not take the Dawn Star, a morning star of the Order of Whole Jetheri. On a miss, still choose one, but strike off an advancement in both memory and radiance. Tell us why the attack on Castle Oblivion will only bring despair, but why you still will go forward with it. In promise and obligation, your GM. So, of course, obviously, my first thought upon reading this is, Mathias wants us to kill each other. That's very clearly what I'm reading here.
Yeah, we might want to write those or rewrite any bonds we have, after we hear those choices.
Yeah, because if Alva dies, it's gonna die as soon as Sivna finds out that you didn't let her. Holy shit!
It's Alva. Is that?
Yeah.
Oh,
Alva.
then I got it wrong. Well,
Yeah. I was given a pronunciation key on her for that name anyway. All right.
Yeah, they're just spelt weird because they're from a language that doesn't use the same alphabet.
This is true. All right. So, yes, I guess perhaps I should make a roll and see what happens.
yeah.
Shall I? I'm so glad I increased my con. Whether it'll do any good, we'll find out in a moment. All right. So I'm just rolling plus con?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I can't even look.
All right. Here goes. That's a 10.
So you get 3
Yeah.
out of those 5.
That's good. There might be room for mercy. Okay.
Choose wisely.
I have a knife within arm's reach. So
I
just
believe
in
you.
case. No, like literally.
I believe you.
She's in Canada. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Well, it's less of a Canadian thing and more of a Rachel thing.
No, I meant like you're.
Oh yeah, I'm far enough away that he doesn't have to worry.
No, I have every faith that depending on how this goes, Rachel will have the strength to just push it through Twitch and into my heart if she so desires.
Hey, I play another game with you. I can make it hurt.
Yes, I know, right? That's also how things are going to hurt.
We do have a picture of the whole Jetharier. Just to remind everyone, right?
The Order of the Eidolon.
Yes.
It looks like Mewtwo in the.
I think the name of the order must be why we also call it the Order of the Eidolon.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
Yeah.
the Eidolon.
Or imagine being illiterate and joining this order because your parents can't afford to feed you, and you have to learn how to say that.
We had years of revision before we were allowed to enter the order. We had a lot of reading classes, English classes we had to take.
They're all named Jared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was easier that way, really. But there's the picture for folks who want to see that. I just showed that on screen.
Tweet at Brandon Conway and complain that all the names are so bad because I didn't make them up.
Ah, yes. There we are with our darling, strange crystal orb child.
And I think that crystalline orb is actually in the tent.
Oh, good.
Right?
So it'll be sitting right there, staring at us while we're having this conversation.
And I think the tent is laid out like a war room. But so, any questions, or do you all know what you want to pick here?
Just for the sake of clarity, I just want to double check here. As it seemed as though you might have in this letter, I was trying to figure out if you were talking about one host or two hosts or precisely. So just for absolute clarity here, you're saying that some of the are you saying that some of Sivna's people for some strange reason ended up following me?
So no, like
okay.
It's a strange situation. They kept following Sivna, who was underground.
Okay.
But you managed to keep the entire war band together as a war band.
Herding sheep who also are very...
Yeah. So I imagine like that they're right now camping outside and like fletching arrows and preparing for war. That's a whole lot on you.
Okay.
To make it that way. But most of them fell into a very lethargic state, just following a strange path through the lands. Like that, it wasn't a straight path to Castle Oblivion, right? It took 36 years, as we know.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah, it took a long time.
Yeah. Well, we don't know. It could have taken millennia. Or 30 years, or like 10 hours. And it also...
What's the difference, really?
It did take all of those times. Yeah. Wow. And so these are still... so it's Sivna's warband. and our people are
So,
that we ended
yeah.
up leading there. Yes.
So the strange thing is, they are kind of animated by Sivna,
Right. Gesundheit.
right? But you have some form of keeping them in order, directing them, which probably follows from soldier instincts,
Probably.
right? If you just do the thing that they would be used to, they would follow those things. And as like Sivna drew closer again, it definitely became more active, more responsive again.
Okay.
But they're not. They carry way too little soul essence, basically, to be discerning individuals. That's a little bit different with those knights of your order. So basically, your cavalry is much more independent and capable of their own thought.
Okay. All right. Gotcha. Okay.
So, if push came to shove, it would likely be, yes, Sivna has the numbers, and you have the elites,
Okay.
right? If it came to that, who knows if it does?
Yeah, well, who knows? Who knows, indeed. All right.
And
yeah.
likely Auden has the angel, so
That's
with the big
entirely
hammer.
possible.
So I don't know where you would want to place your bets.
Yeah, it's a great question. It really is. Okay, I guess I should pick 3 of these things. Or do we want to go over bonds next, or
Well, your bonds might
Yeah.
be
very
affected by what
depending
you
on
pick.
what I pick? Yeah. All right.
Maybe if you all want to pick in secret, that's fine too. But I don't.
I mean, I know which one I'm picking.
In the
So I'll go. I'll go first.
Yeah, let's hear it.
So I'm going to free the audience of the many song. And so I guess that means I had to kill the fiddler.
Mm-hmm. Under what circumstances do you think that was?
I think the fiddler returned to me and came to Sivna's side, and Sivna heard what he had said, and they can't think of any way to dissuade him because of his fervor and his dedication to finding this violin. So I draw my sword and I run, like he's just standing there talking to me, and I put my hand on his shoulder and run him through.
Yeah. Saving Lastlife, the potential future of people creating new beauty, though.
Yeah. And so the attack on Castle Oblivion for me will only bring despair, but why you will still go forward with it. I think so. Sivna is always, the first thing they do when they're unsure is to contact the spirits in the earth, and they get a very strong portent. And Sivna is convinced at some point that that this assault will lead to their permanent undeath. So whatever happens in this, like whatever happens, they're going to die and they're not going to wake back up. Because I think Sivna obviously isn't like the rest of the denizens of Lastlife. Sivna is displaced from time. Sivna is displaced from everything, and if when they die, and they will die, they're not going to be coming back. But they think that upsetting the throne is important enough that it's worth it for the future of the rest of the denizens of Lastlife, even if they won't be among them, to try and create something new from the So, yeah, that's what a failure does, guys. Oh,
Who else knows what their choices are going to be?
I've just about got it, I think. So if you wish, I will go ahead. But if Charlie has it sussed out, though.
Yeah, I have mine too.
Yeah, if you've got yours completely, then go ahead, because I still need to.
Because one of the choices was like, you did not promise to deliver her to Sivna. But Autumn wouldn't do that. She would promise it. So I went like on the two choices I think that would come from promising something like that. And it was learning of her past, let you put things together for what the world was. What do you realize about the cataclysm or the life you had that will be relevant now? Take one memory and tell us about it. And then by reigning in the Seraph, you gained insight into the potential still to be found in the denizens of Lastlife. What have you realized, and how do you think you can put it to use in the upcoming struggle? Take one radiance.
So those are the two that you're picking.
Yes.
So that will mean in your parley with the Seraph, you promised her to deliver Sivna to her for the structure.
Yeah.
Just making sure. Good to know.
Well, we know how Sivna's dying now.
Yeah, likely.
That's fine.
Okay. All right. Here we go. So
I'm putting my hand up. So if I'm dying at some point, could you at least leave one of my friends so I have another character that I could be, maybe, in the future?
I mean, in regards to the Auden choice, she's just gonna get them there. She might not let them. She probably wouldn't help kill.
Sivna's plan. Well, Rachel's plan for Sivna is to be like, yeah, you can kill me. Can I just have like enough time to do stuff, and then you're good?
just so I'm sure, just so we're clear here, because I was a little fuzzy on some of this, and I was also trying to read and think at the same time. Which, you know, I'm terrible at both of those things, just even independently. The Seraph, has the Seraph made clear intentions that they wish to destroy Sivna or something of that nature, or do they just want to make contact with them? Do we know?
It's for destruction, according to my letter.
Yeah, but does everyone know this or not? And I don't think, from what we've seen, that has become clear. I think this is what Sivna has remembered, right? So we know it as on a player level from that point, and from the letter, Auden knows this, but it's how much everyone kind of knows is very dependent on how that encounter with the Seraph went, which is kind of up to you, Auden. You get to decide that. So if like the angel came and bellowed out a "Deliver me, Sivna," right? Or "I will destroy you," or if it happened differently, kind of also depends on how Auden handled and managed that situation. So you get to decide, Charlie.
Honestly, I feel like Auden would have been like, okay, sure. Like, much more, like, classy than that, but she would have agreed, because she knows who Sivna is, even though they're separated, So
Gregor knows that you might have promised something along those lines, even if he doesn't know the details of your parley with the angel.
Okay.
Right.
Is that what I'm hearing?
Works for me.
Yeah. Okay.
So something that I have not said out loud, but was a thing that I was kind of figuring was going on in Gregor's head, is that actually during their last confrontation, Sivna did convince him of certain things. Not that Gregor was not convinced that Sivna is not important. Gregor still believes that Sivna was, Sivna is very, very important in terms of just how the world has gone and perhaps is going to go. But there was a shift, and which represented what I originally was, what I sort of had swapped out for the bond at the end. But before we get into that, I will go ahead and make my choices here. But that thought has, as part of it, informed my choice of which three options I wanted to take here. And one option that I'll be taking is, in your taking of the command, you recalled more about the nature and purpose of the order. Tell us about it and take one memory. And so the thing that I recalled about the nature and the purpose of the order is that, and this is something that can have varied over time in different ways, but there is an impression that there is, at least at the center of things, an understanding that a frozen child cannot, stuck in a crystal orb, cannot rule a land. The unborn ruler is a symbol of the potential good that, or just the potential accomplishment that a good ruler can have. The idea is that you have the child there as a reminder of that. Therefore, it's not a pledge to a specific ruler, but to the idea of the best one.
The one that would pledge themselves to the Eidolon, assuming it's the best one.
Well, then the interpretations vary, but the one that Gregor has more is, it has more to do with like who is the best person for the job, and who's going to keep the people's interest in mind, and who's going to, do what's right for the people.
Yeah, that's definitely like the more the ones that were more turned towards the world, the more pragmatic arm of the church.
Yes.
Definitely. Yeah. Like, how do we actually apply this in an actual governorship?
Yeah, exactly. And so that's what Gregor has recalled and realizes that it's like, even if we go in and take this castle, we're not going to literally put this freaking orb in the throne, and we'll put it somewhere. But it's not something that we're necessarily going to be, we're not going to have someone standing there like a vizier listening to the orb and saying, this is what the Eidolon wants. That's not what this is about.
Okay.
Hopefully not. That's not as far as Gregor is concerned.
Yeah. Not every Knight of the Order might agree or see that.
This is why there are multiple sects.
Yeah, but I think it's fair to say that in the world as it was, that was the prevalent, like that's the sensible way to go about it.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's one.
Yes, shape and form the story into your direction.
Exactly. He says, "Mad with power." So as a result, I am going to go ahead and take. You did not have to maim, kill, and/or excommunicate the existing leadership of Brethra, Rathis, and Morgaunt.
Those are your people.
Those are my people.
Yes.
Actually, thank you for reminding me of that. Those are my people, aren't they?
Yep.
I might not take that.
My people are Alva and Clay.
That's right. Your people are Alva and Clay.
My people. It's okay if you want to do that. It's fine. I'll make a new character.
Up until this moment,
Mega Sipna.
See, up until this moment, I had forgotten that Brethra was my
your
sibling.
sister.
Yes, was my sister.
You can do whatever you want. I'm just saying I own a knife.
I do understand that you own a knife.
Also, not to complicate your decision even more, but the last option, the one with the Dawn Star, is that comes with a compendium class.
Yes, I remember. I was just looking at that a moment ago in the book thingy.
Good. Okay.
And I realized that there are obligations.
Obligation, but you also get a good weapon.
There's that,
and some special abilities,
which is nice
over time if you want.
And in fact, as far as Gregor is concerned, he is following the true tenets of his faith. Things would be see on the one hand, narratively, Jim thinks things would be kind of easier for the way that I would like to play this if I just did not pick number one.
You can do whatever you want.
I know, right?
I'm telling the truth. But also, I think it'd be really fun if you executed your sister.
I think it would be too. That's the thing.
You also have the option to pick
because I have a feeling
a different thing for each of them if you wanted to. Right?
Because I have a feeling that some of their
kill one, excommunicate one.
It's been a while since I've played main, kill, excommunicate. It's a fun game. Yes. Let's see. I mean, it'd be nice if they take it and that means that they're actually on board with me. As far as how this goes, but I know that there was...
That's not what...
Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly. That's not what the fiction has suggested. Yeah, all right. I think I know what options I'm going to take for the other two options. One of those will be, under your leadership, you realized you can reshape and repurpose your order into something new for Lastlife. What is this new glint of hope you found, and how do you believe to fan into something bright and take 1 radiance. I don't have a full answer as of yet, but I think the idea of the order as just a thing that defends the ideals of the Eidolon without necessarily trying to be literalists about it is a pretty nice thing. Basically, as the I don't want to say security arm of the kingdom, but something not unlike that, if you get what I'm saying. Something that can actually provide hope. I'll put it that way. It's kind of a sort of a more the idea is to protect what's there rather than to try to replace it with something, if that makes sense. Now, right now, what's there is the the mother of all wars, so we don't want to do that. But obviously, we understand the difference between a usurper and someone who is going to be a good ruler. But that, I think, is probably a good role for them. Because otherwise there's no safety net. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's a potential for the future
Okay.
of them. Like, you see, you can form them into this new vision
Yes.
that you've come to for them.
And I think that stems from Gregor remembering this and then being like, okay, no, crap, we need to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And
So, yeah.
well, I have the third choice, but if you want me to hold off for a moment, then I will.
Well, there's still questions also for Auden to answer with her choices, right? So as long as we're like ruminating upon these, one was, what do you realize about the cataclysm and or the life you had that will be relevant now? Auden.
I'm not really sure. So I don't think I know anything out of character about the cataclysm. So I'm not really sure how to form that answer on my own.
So the beauty about this is no one does. We can just make it up, right?
Okay, cool.
So whatever thing you want it to be, you can just state that, and that'll be it. And I'll just have to deal with it.
Okay.
It's also like it's a kind of a question.
Pressure.
It is kind of a question about Auden's motivation too, right? Because it's like what thing might it make like to be relevant now to you that you've realized?
Okay, I was thinking of it in this way. That I don't know, it's a lot of pressure.
If you want to think about it for a moment, like think about it and we can talk about it later.
Okay, because I just a little overwhelmed with that one. I don't know why I chose that.
If you still want to change your answer, we can also do that, right? We don't have to lock it in hard right now.
Mm-hmm.
And might similarly to Gregor, it might be connected to the other one, right? Where it says that you gained insight into the potential still to be found in the denizens of Lastlife by talking to the angel. What have you realized, and how do you think you can put it to use in the upcoming struggle? So again, it's similarly like memory is always about remembering how something is or was and what its purpose is or something like that. And radiance is always about, okay, what new thing can be created through this.
Okay.
So likewise, you can like form and shape where the story goes and what it's about a lot with these options.
Okay.
But like, right, your the last two options are kind of similar, except I'm giving you more stuff, and there was more concrete things, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to, like, the one about the Might Sword is very much, right, what do you realize about what might be relevant now? And if you want to mess with Gregor, you can pick the last option. And like actually say, no, like something magical will happen if you put the orb on the throne. It will break open and this glorious full-grown man in his prime will emerge from the egg. Right?
Right. I just like for the character, she would pick those first. Well, those second too. I just think I clearly kind of struggle with this like group world building thing.
That's all right. Like in the term of like everyone can chip in here, right? If you want ideas from other people.
Well, for the first one, I was kind of thinking, Auden's whole thing was that she was the like assistant to a very powerful man, and I'm thinking she was very ill, and that's why he put her to rest and froze her, so that when like the world was better, he could bring her back. So I'm thinking maybe like, what if his magic and the kind of people he was with and their magic kind of helped lead to the cataclysm? Because it was very dark.
Awesome.
And then it could be like, it's kind of relevant because she kind of had firsthand knowledge because she was so devoted to him.
I like that. It's very good. Maybe
I'm getting really good at but
I have a question. So maybe if she was dead and he was pushing for magic to restore her in some way, then maybe like the magic that he was seeking to bring Auden back was some of the magic that undid the world. Like it broke the world because it's against the laws of nature or whatever. Is that possible? Are you good with that?
Does that ring with what you?
Yeah, that works. I thought you were talking to Mathias.
No, I was talking to you.
Because I mean that could definitely work. And then that could kind of tie into the what have you realized and how do you think you can put it to use in the upcoming struggle, and just like the potential to still be found in the denizens of Lastlife. So maybe like some people do have the power to reverse the magic that did this to the world.
Yeah, because like, right, one undead is not like the other. You already learned this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is awesome. I'm not adding too much onto this because it's giving me great ideas for things to do on 6 minuses. Which you all are pretty good at rolling a lot of. So
yeah.
That's true.
So.
Thanks, Aaron.
So
I love that. Did you add your radiance and memory?
Yes.
And to those things? Yeah.
I'm getting real close to that top one being full.
Yeah. Nice. Cool. what's your last option? And I think
I only got 2.
yeah, but I meant Gregor. Gregor
Oh,
has a
sorry.
third option, and I think that's when we'll go for a break, and we can like spend 5 minutes thinking about if we want to revise any bonds,
right.
according to whatever happened.
Okay. My last option that I'm choosing is you were able to fend off the screaming centaurs nipping at the heels of the host and were able to save Alva and Klain, who had fallen into the same stupor as the rest after Sivna's vanishing.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
This also means you don't have pressure from behind. Otherwise, those screaming centaurs would still be around and would still be an issue. Right? So, like, this is not, like, entirely selfless.
Indeed. And also, it seems I staged a coup, so I guess we'll be finding that out.
Yeah, and I definitely want to hear about what happened there and what you did. But I think this is a good point to take the break.
I agree. Awesome. All right, folks. Well, we're going to take a few minutes and reflect and think about all this. I certainly need to. This is awesome. We will be back shortly. See you in a little bit. We are back.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah. And I think as we come back, how about we go around, actually describe how you're like entering the tent or being in the tent, like entering the scene, and give us your the bonds that you have. Like, it's a couple of new ones, a couple of rewritten ones. How does that sound?
Yeah.
Who wants to start?
I can start because I imagine Rodden is chilling in the tent for both meanings of the word. Since the seraph is overhead, and then her bonds are: Gregor wants to know the secrets of the kingdom. I will get those secrets from them somehow. I need them. I still think that one's pretty true. He knows things that she doesn't know. And then my bond with Sivna has changed to be that I promised the seraph that I would return, or I don't know how to read. I promised the seraph that I would deliver Sivna to them for destruction.
A good bond.
A real good bond.
I love that bond. Love it, all these.
And I assume Gregor is also in his tent, right?
Yeah.
What's Gregor look like at this point?
So Gregor.
I mean, the Lady of Ice remains unchanged as ever, right? That's kind of her whole deal. But Gregor has taken command in these last 36 years.
Yeah, however long it's been. Yeah, so Gregor is a ghost, so his appearance hasn't changed a huge amount, but perhaps there have been some things that have bled in psychologically that have caused the makeup of things to alter. So the armor is the same. The armor has been cleaned up a bit. It is not as not done, not to a vain extent. It's not gleaming, but it's at least looks more like an actual living knight's armor. Gregor himself still has the pale complexion, and the white hair, but the complexion is not quite as dead, for lack of a better word, as it was before. Gregor looks as though slightly closer to the way that he looked in life. So there's a little bit of color in his face now, and it's, like I said, the hair hasn't really changed, but it's still, so it's usually sort of kind of just long behind him, and it seems as though it seems like he's able to take his helmet off and his head stays there, for one thing, which is also helpful. So he's actually sitting with. So he's sitting with at a desk. There's a map on the desk. His helmet is actually sitting on the desk, so you can actually see him poring over some things.
You're standing.
Yeah, sort of standing, looking over looking over the map, and then looking at some other things, and then I guess there is a sort of a block, like either a block of ice possibly, or a block of just or it could be a tree stump maybe, that has the just sort of in the off to the side that has this this crystalline orb. This it's not a perfect orb. It's more sort of ellipsoidal, just sitting there, and
It's like an egg.
yeah, it's kind of like an egg. And if you look deep into it, you can see this child frozen inside.
Bring your baby to work day.
Yes. Bring your unborn ruler to work day.
Yeah.
But yeah, the makeup of the cavalry that Gregor had looks a little bit different. It's not everyone that was there last time. And I don't know if I'd have if I'd have other people in the tent, or do I know Sivna's coming, or is this a surprise?
That's it's probably a surprise unless you did something to not be surprised.
No.
Well, I mean, you've mentioned that as I get closer, everyone is like waking up a little bit more and becoming more conscious. So you might not know that I'm coming, but you can tell that something is definitely changing.
Something is happening with these folks.
Are Alva and Klein and like as like kind of part of your command staff, even though they are very lethargic, but are they kept close?
I'd probably they'd probably be there because I can use their technical knowledge, and I can still actually talk to all of them because I have that spell. So I can at least find out what they, from a certain perspective, know, even though it's not quite their awake perspective. So I can, so they'd still be useful in that way. And I also did want to keep an eye on them, so they're probably there. There are probably a few guards and what have you in the tent as well.
Mm-hmm. And your bonds are bonds are
yes. So
can't talk.
My bond with Auden again is I have died again in Auden's service. She is clearly very important to me. I must find out why. Still murky on that one. That one hasn't changed.
Yeah, you two actually might. It seems like you have stuff to talk about.
Yeah, we haven't really had a lot of time. There was this big kaiju that attacked us, and there was an issue. We've had a lot to do.
Big kaiju is a worse word than weird dog, which is what I thought attacked you.
Well, this was the Seraph was sort of, it was an animal-looking thing, right?
Oh, that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, the Seraph.
Weird. There are also weird dogs involved.
Not the weird dogs. No, those are different. Those are not what I was thinking about. But also we had to deal with that, so that there was, we've had a lot on our plates. So there was that. So we probably haven't had time to talk it over. But my bond with Sivna is Sivna's role in history has been played. Their purpose is good, and I will aid them if they wish, but I will let them and their people remain in the past if that is their desire.
Lovely. And what's this like when Sivna enters the tent?
I think you hear Sivna before you see them, because in the time that you spent around Sivna, you kind of got used to this odd creaking and cracking noise that accompanied them whenever they walked, just as the bits of their skin and their bones grated together in their stiffness. The way that their leathery skin would stretch and ache as they moved it. And so that's what you hear approaching the tent. And then it's they brush, like they push basically just the curtain open and stride in without like a second of hesitation. And I turn to face Gregor, and I turn to face Auden.
Are you alone, or because you have new followers as well?
I think my followers have dispersed
Okay.
into the camp, have spread themselves out. I expected to see you here. Where are where are the rest of your leadership?
We had a difference of opinion.
What kind of difference?
Well, notably in things that I have remembered, and things that involve the path forward.
And what is that path? And I've got my hand on my sword.
Well, now, to be honest, blind worship is of no use. We follow a symbol. And we protect what is good. And just sort of with a glance briefly at the Eidolon, and then sort of looks back and is like, but they, I think, had chosen to take our purpose a bit too literally. We protect the potential of the kingdom. Not a specific individual. Not a specific future ruler. We protect the potential of what a future ruler should be. When the time comes for there to be one.
My hand leaves my sword, and I fold my arms across my chest, and I say, "It's good to see you finally come to some sense. Did you kill them?"
Not all of them. Actually, let me see here. Hang on, this is now where we get to play.
Actually, do we want a flashback here to what you did to them? Because that was still unanswered, right?
That's true. Yes, we have to play the game of maim, kill, excommunicate. So, Jim has forgotten. Jim remembers who Brethra is. Jim has forgotten Rathus and Morgant.
The other two were not really characterized much, so...
Okay, I gotcha.
If you want something, I can give you something, but... But we can also go with whatever you deem cool.
So I think Gregor, over the course of what happened, had to maim Rathus and kill Morgant, and excommunicated Brethra because he could not bring himself to destroy his sister.
Nice. So she's still around somewhere.
So she's still out there.
Uh-huh. Why did you have to do this? Like, what escalated, or what?
I think when the Seraph showed up, there was a point where there was a clear divergence in our memories about what that meant.
Yeah.
Gregor had the realization that some time ago, his order, back when they were around during the time of Sivna, completed their task with respect to Sivna. That was Sivna's part in their history. And doing anything at this point trying to once again feed Sivna to this thing is just repeating history, and he doesn't want to do that. And he thinks the Order can be better than that. And while still keeping the understanding of the importance of the Seraph in mind, and still keeping understanding the importance of Sivna in mind, it's a situation that Gregor kind of realized that some of his fellow leaders of this order were stuck in a loop, and the only way to stop it, it would seem, was to was eventually to come to blows. And I think actually, you know what I think might have happened is that I have a feeling that Gregor might be part of the reason why they had a conflict with the Seraph in the first place. Because I have a feeling that some of that, at least possibly Rathis and Morgaunt, Morgaunt especially, I feel like, was prepared to just sort of lay down their arms in service to the Seraph, and Gregor's like, "But what are you doing? We have to take this seriously. Yes, show respect, but for goodness sake, don't just blindly follow every idea that suddenly pops up." And
is this you remembering something crucial about the Seraph?
Part of this problem is Jim has forgotten what's already been established about the Seraph. But it's likely. But I need a context. Do we have a context?
So, yeah, the context is what we know is the Seraph was a hero of her time. But after she died and had become a saint, she was resurrected again into a suit of armor to basically be like, yes, well, we still need this hero, right? And that betrayal turned her sour, right? It's basically, well, if we need a saint, we can just resurrect them. It's not actually a good idea.
Is it known who did that?
So the actual text is, she was once one of the greatest heroes the world had ever seen. Her legends glowed throughout the history of the world before the cataclysm. She lived a noble life and she died a saint. And then she was resurrected into a massive suit of armor, designed to give her greater power than she had ever had before. With wings of steel and a hammer the size of a building, her soul, pulled from whatever paradisical afterlife in which it had found peace, was forced into armor.
Yeah.
They thought they were serving their people. They thought they were reviving a great hero they needed. Instead, they were creating a destroyer. And she rose into, yeah, but when, when the cataclysm struck the world, she was brought back again, and she rose into the air, screeching in pain and rage and grief to strike down the world that she had saved, the world that she had so thoroughly betrayed her. Right. So there was definitely like a sin. Like who we can still like nail down, but we already know that
Auden's like mentor.
Yeah, Auden's mentor. His powers was part of like resurrecting her and binding her into that armor. I also seem to have this echo in my mind from a past session where that was a memory you had of a disagreement between you and Brethra.
Yeah.
If something like this should be done or not.
Interesting. There is a time question that's kind of there, and that is was Sivna the guardian of the Seraph before they became the Seraph? Or in other words, before they were forced into the armor when they were still a hero, or
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. That jibes then. Okay. And we were talking about trying to. Oh yeah. Okay. I think we were talking about trying to bring them back again, and we did have an argument about that. I think. The nature of it, I'd have to go back and look at it to remember, but yeah. And the interesting thing also here for me.
You were pretty vague.
Yeah. Yeah.
You were pretty vague.
Something also that's just interesting to me about the whole thing is that there are two other things at work here. One being that Gregor now kind of being more, remembering things. First off, doesn't want to do to Sivna essentially what it was that was done to the Seraph in a way, which is like, oh, let's bring back this hero to do this thing for us. Secondly, on a sort of a personal note, Gregor doesn't want to being resurrected in a suit of armor. Gregor similarly does not want to become like the Seraph. So there was, I think, some degree of antagonism. I think that with Rathus and Morgant, they, I think maybe one of them was remembering wrong, and then another of them was just essentially like, okay, well, we have this powerful tool that we can use to get at Castle Oblivion, and Gregor thinks that the price is too high because the price involves their principles. And so there was a conflict. And I think during that's when Auden made a kind of a deal with it, if that's acceptable.
Yeah, that's probably, that happened in parallel. I like that. But okay, so you killed Morgant, which that has different implications in Lastlife.
Well, yeah,
so
yeah. Killing is not necessarily permanent.
You maimed Rathus?
Yes.
Where is Rathus now? What does maim mean? Is he still strung up in the camp as a symbol, like as a warning sign?
Not
because that
in the camp.
Okay. But
I think on our way back, Rathus is now, I kind of like the idea that Rathus is now part of the frozen waterfall. Bound up into it.
Nice. Okay.
Basically, it's like, oh, you want to be so much like our symbol? Here, let's do that. So essentially, removed certain. So I think limbs were removed, and the remainder was. And I don't know if Auden would have assisted us with this or not.
She was busy with the Seraph. We just said, right?
So has been sort of nailed to the to the rock face by the waterfall.
Love that. That's just such beautiful imagery.
Yes.
These are all very nice people.
Yes, they're great people.
Yeah.
And Brethra, once again, it was the disagreement was, I think, lesser between myself and Brethra than between the others, but at the same time, she still, I think, wanted to put the orb on the throne, and I'm just sitting there like, no, this is a prop. This is our. Well, this is someone that is supposed to inspire us. This is not supposed to be, this doesn't work, and it's not going to work. And if we do this, we are going to die.
That's how you had that falling out.
And so
And
yeah, we had a falling out.
she left you no option. That's how you view it.
Yeah, I think that it was like we cannot do this. And I also think I suspected she had further ambitions. At that point, that just upon realizing my thought about just back to that argument with sort of the way that she'd fallen on the issue of the Seraph and the issue with like, what are we going to do to deal with this? And I can't remember if Gregor said he was going to desperately try to do something to bring the Seraph with the Seraph at the end or not, but I think just based on certain things connected to that, he was like, no, you know what? The temptation is going to be too great for you, I'm not going to kill you, but you have to leave now because this is, I'm offering you your unlife. Please take it.
Auden, what did you think about this change in leadership? And Sivna, same to you as you hear this now.
I'm fine with it.
Auden would have been fine with it as well. I don't think she puts much weight in leadership. So
I'm fine with it
how she felt.
Because Gregor obviously still sees me as like a heroic or like religious figure, but he's not letting that guide him anymore and guide his decisions. He's not looking to the past, he's looking to the future.
Yeah. That has been the biggest change.
Yeah. Which Sivna can appreciate.
Though Auden would have been slightly put out about no longer being able to annoy Brethra. Because I forgot she had done that.
Oh.
Yeah, that was a thing. True.
Well, you can always keep in touch with her if you need to.
What's the
Yeah, so I've changed. We've kind of wandered around this, but I've changed my bond with Gregor. I need to rewrite mine with Auden a little bit better because I don't know how Sivna feels about it. But my bond with Gregor was previously like I just deleted it, but it was not very flattering. But now it says, Gregor has protected my people and shown himself to be more reasonable and pragmatic. I might not agree with him, but I will trust his ability to lead, especially in my upcoming absence.
Oh dear.
Which I think is what Sivna says the moment that you're done giving your speech is you say, I've been consulting with the spirits of the land, and I look up to where I know there's the light, and I don't know what the light is, but it's foreboding to me. I've learned that I am not long for this world. And whatever that means in this world, I know not what, but that is the case.
I have no desire to give you up to them, I say, looking again up in the direction of the light. I do not wish history to repeat itself.
History? To what do you refer?
I suspect there may have been a time when they sought to... Hang on. Just trying to pull back here. Okay. Oh. You know who that is?
It's a who?
Now, I'm looking over at Auden's poker face, and sort of saying, "They deserve to know. They do. Do you not think?"
What aren't you telling me? I've just arrived and we're already keeping secrets from each other. Thought we were
I'm going to tell
going
you,
to
but
assault this place.
oh, I'm going to tell
Together.
you, but there is this at issue. It has followed us, and it is looking for you. At least that is my understanding. The Lady Auden has more of the details.
Who is
You
it?
could. The Seraph. That's what I know it as.
The Seraph is a person, not a point of light in the sky.
You can be both.
Something was done to them after you knew them. They were made into that.
How long after?
I cannot remember the specific time frame, but I feel as though it was significantly more recent.
They wanted you in exchange for not destroying this entire camp.
Fair exchange.
Klain, who's standing there and who's been like silent and as of yet still unresponsive, though, like looking at Sivna. Just mumbles under his non-existent breath. Should have killed her.
Cannot kill a plant before you let it flower. There's potential in things.
And he just hangs his head.
What did the Seraph want with me? Auden?
Your demise, destruction. We just agreed, well, I just agreed that I would bring you to her. But I mean, you could leave. You don't have to be a martyr to the Seraph.
Yes, Evna. Why don't you just go on holiday? And the entire warhorse will follow you after. Nice. I love this.
You might be powerful, but you're a fool. I cannot. It's not a matter of what choice I am to make, because you do not know me. There is only one choice that I can make.
It's your choice. That's just...
Do you think I want to be like this? Do any of us want to be like this? This state between existence and non-existence?
No.
What it was like to be alive.
Of course I do.
And here the sky doesn't change. It stays the same, except when you walk, and then it's different everywhere. This isn't a world meant for people. This is something. This is a mistake.
I won't argue that point, but the world has potential to be saved.
But I do not belong to this part of the world.
You're here, so clearly you do.
Well, maybe I was just here to fix a small part of it. I don't think I was ever meant to remain.
None of us were, but here we are, in the thick of it.
The state of this world, if it's ever returned to anything that resembled what it once was, it'll have no place for a warrior like me.
But what if we need you to get it there?
Well,
Does it even deserve to be saved? Should it not be ended once and for all? I mean, look at us.
it's not our choice to decide whether we end the world for everyone. We already had that choice made for us, and look where it ended us up.
Sorry.
I can promise to empty the seat of the throne, whatever evil occupies it. I do not know how much longer I will last past that point. And I must talk to Sarah, if she is intent upon destroying me.
Sivna. No. That's Alva, like taking a first step, saying her first words again.
I was returned for a reason, and if being brought down by her hand is that reason, then so be it. I will not try to change the tides of fate.
But what purpose is this to serve? Gregor?
No. I just sort of looking back and seeing that this is the first time any of these people have spoken in like however long it's been, and look back over and at Sivna. We cannot give you to this. That you give your people life. You are important to them. That is clear.
Auden, you know, you use magic of sorts, correct? Is there...
I mean,
There are many different kinds of magic. Is there a way to take whatever light that is in me that powers these people, and give it to them, so that once I'm gone, they will still be able to persist in my absence.
There used to be.
Well, there used to be a lot of things. I used to be. Just because something isn't anymore doesn't mean it cannot be again.
If it can be again, I don't know it. Magic used to feel warm and it was easier to create and to give, but
So
no longer my magic.
So your magic used to be warm?
Yes.
Are you remembering a fact here?
Yeah. Sure.
Were you? Yeah. So you were when you were alive? Actually, what like a?
Hold on. I have it up. My mage page. Yeah, because when she was alive, I imagined it was her focus was
Like life force and
yeah.
fire and passion.
Yes. Because the focus that she has now is the winter. And that's not what she had when she was alive.
Yeah. So roll me recall a memory here. It should be on your sheet, right?
Yeah, I just had to pull it up. Yikes.
Yeah, that's Snake Eyes that you rolled. Take XP. But also, I think you do remember, and that crushing memory that when you lived, you were pretty much the exact opposite of what you are now, comes down on you. And it's like this realization that like hits you, like that hits you harder than the Seraph's hammer hit your shield, at least to you. I don't know if you actually like your knees actually buckle upon what you have been turned to by your. He was your master, right?
Yeah.
You were his assistant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that you once served for life and for healing. And that comes crashing down on you. How does here's the question: do you remain ice cold under this realization, or does it actually express itself? Because that's kind of up to you. I don't want to tell you how.
I don't think it manifests in any way, and that just hurts more, but it doesn't.
That's inside of you. That's more soul crushing. Oh. Yeah.
Here is a question, I say. My lady, whilst you are thinking on this, is there a means to redirect the energies invested in what hovers above us?
Are you asking if we could just destroy her? And like, Klein is like unsure. Gaze flickers over to Sivna, right? I mean, he was the one who was like, we should have killed her, but this is the opposite. Actually, proposing to do. Yeah, there's definitely much more uncertainty in this. And
Yeah, Sivna shakes their head and says, before we do anything rash, the last time I spoke to the Seraph, she was a child, and I failed in my duty to protect her. Because I failed in so many ways. I must speak to her at least once. At least as an apology.
You should come up with a way to deal with this. But indeed, if you are bound and determined, then that is your path. That is what you wish to do. And we shall do our best to marshal things in your absence, should that happen. But I feel there must be a way to deal with this that will not involve further destruction of losing ground on what has been gained.
I thought I thought we were here to finally pull the old hag from her throne.
Oh yes, that indeed. But
That's what we must focus on. That is our goal here. She's right.
My lady, do you know if the folks will probably have noticed by now that Gregor is trying not to use the words the seraph, even though I think I probably have in this conversation once or twice prior to this. My lady, he says, once again addressing Auden, do you reckon that our guest, I say, looking up again, will, if not assist, at least assist us in this, at least hold off until we have dealt with Oblivion?
I mean, I don't know what actions she'll choose to take.
I'll speak to her. She might want to destroy me, but at least there's history there.
Can this be postponed for after? And Alva looks like quite unsure over to Gregor. The siege or whatever happens next. Must you go talk to her now?
But we might need her help. We do not know the extent of the powers of who sits on the throne currently. We can take all the help that we can get, especially given the circumstances. If she has not killed me yet, then I doubt she will kill me immediately.
That is a fair point. She could have swooped down upon you the moment you entered the camp. I do not like this, but if that is...
It doesn't matter whether you like it or not.
Precisely, that is my point.
It's not your domain.
Yeah. If this is your choice, then I wish you luck, and should you require assistance in dealing with her, then what I am able to give, I will.
I believe this is a matter between her and me. Though I appreciate your offer of assistance. They say, like, beneath their breath.
Yeah. Our order must protect what is good in the world and what will help it to continue to grow. If not literally, at least in its path, in its enlightenment. And I think you are one of those things.
There's something very sly that that Sivna does now, and it's a little bit gross because of the shriveled nature of their body, but I basically take Gregor's hand and kiss it like as a sign of like, it's a little bit flirtatious, but not really. It's more teasing than anything else. I appreciate the sentiment, and as I'm like lowering like the gauntlet and the steel of your fingers. But there are some things you might believe to be true that aren't. And I know that for a fact.
Yeah. These days, so do I.
I'm going to walk out of the tent and gaze up at the sky.
Yeah. Let's remain a moment in the tent. There's this rasping noise that comes from Klein as he swallows, looking after Sivna, but I mean, his throat is dry, as is his entire body. And then he looks down at the map and he says, "So what is the situation?" And here's a question. Did anybody survey the castle yet or anything like that? Or
if we have any scouts, probably I would have sent a couple of scouts at least from the party of the order, people who are, or at least someone capable of enough independent thought to be able to scout and try not to get caught. To sort of take a look and see kind of what's going on and report back.
So in a sense, Gregor did. It kind of amounts to a study the ruins role. But you can freely tell me what state you're in. Remember, I already told you what the castle appears to be like from the outside. Its gates open and everything like that. But you surely could have made out like they're definitely like patrols up on the battlements, and that kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, right now I'm seeing a big neon sign across the front of the castle that says "Trap."
Yeah, that's why I'm like, and obviously, like, this could also be something that Auden has done if you wanted to have done this, like, so via magical means, right? There's different ways to go about it.
She would have asked, but she probably wouldn't have done it on her own.
So should I do like a study the ruins roll here, or what do you want? What do you want us to do?
Yeah, like if we like if like the shot like shows the map now, like what's the situation that we're in, and you can definitely define what the situation, like how you deployed your warband, your / Sivna's warband. But yeah.
So basically, it's semi-defensive position as this camp as we're coming out, and we're trying to keep from being immediately in sight, but getting folks out to kind of establish a perimeter. Just looking and scouting around Castle Oblivion at great distance, but try to see just what they can find out. See if they note anything else about the structure. Secret entrances would be great if there's any way to know about those, but that's a thing that involves possibly research, if nothing else, which might involve looking in other ruins nearby. So any number of those things might be going on.
I mean, right, that could be going on. You also have you could also reframe this entire thing that you know something about the castle. I mean, I was just looking over, like, because you're one step away from getting a memory advancement. Wanted to point that out, right? If you want to be like, I remember there's a secret entrance.
I was wondering how much of that I'm allowed to do, because I don't want to be like
just no, go for it. Like whatever you feel is right. I'm ready when the 6 minutes comes to like crush your soul. Like I did on it. So it's up to you.
So yeah, so do I express the memory first and then do it, or
definitely, like, when you remember something.
Okay. So
when you recall a lost memory of Lastlife, say what you remember and roll.
Okay.
Pleasant.
So okay, I see. So we're going either toward that or toward study. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, whichever you like. Yeah.
All right. Looking at the picture of Castle Oblivion once again, as I must do to sort of see what I'm looking at here.
Do we have a proper picture? Oh yeah, on the thing.
You got one right up there. Seeing its high towers and seeing its what it looks like here. That's a cathedral-like. I think that. Well, yes, of course we're going to do this. There are catacombs. That I think.
Let's have a dungeon delve.
Yes. Well, I mean, this is what happens, right?
All right.
And I mean, the structures like this would have catacombs that could potentially connect to the catacombs of the old city that was surrounding it.
Mm-hmm.
And so there, I think, could be a way through, but whether or not areas are blocked or if it is safe, certainly probably not completely safe, but that could potentially be another way in, I think.
Yeah, and this kind of tells us what the Legionnaire has probably been up to in the meantime. And 2, how do you know this about Castle Oblivion? That's kind of an important thing here, right? If you're remembering this from actual Castle Oblivion, or like whatever it was called in the real world.
So I think that there was a time when Gregor was young that the order he was brought up in was around. This was possibly before some kind of political shift, maybe. There's a vague sense of that in the memory. That there was a point in which he and some others ended up just one night wandering down there and just sort of seeing how far it extended. It's very, I think, it's very sort of scattered, depending with the memory. But apparently, there's this picture of these vaulted chambers going for ridiculously long length in more than one direction.
But you were, yeah. So this is something, a memory of your youth.
Yeah. So like going down, and whether we were maybe we were teenagers and we were going down there to drink. I'm not sure. But there's this memory where it's like we're going down there to do that, and it's someone. It could be Brethra. It could be someone else. The vision, again, as has been happening in most of my visions, it's not clear exactly who this other person is that I'm with. But we go down there and we chat and we dance and we drink and we get lost, and then we eventually find our way out, not realizing that we were supposed to be... it's like, wait, this connects to the castle.
All right. Yeah, recall a lost memory.
All right. I shall click the button. Nope.
XP.
Yay, XP.
Yeah. But no, you recall that last moment, that last memory. I'm interested in what your plan will look like. And using this, like the secret entrance, and if that's going to be like a special task force to do that while the main force attacks, or what the actual plan of attack is going to be. Yeah. But you can think about that. Sivna, how do you call an angel?
By not eating chips when you're trying to ask you a question.
Angels hate that.
Angels hate that. How do you call an angel? By their name.
Oh, you remember her actual name?
Mm-hmm.
Are we naming her?
You can tell me what you want her name to be, or I can go back to my Irish name list and pull from there.
I mean,
and roll for it, because obviously I'm recalling a lost memory.
Yeah, definitely. So you get to tell us the lost memory.
The lost memory I have is of it's that first moment of when I'm in the burned shell of the house that I grew up in. And raking through the ashes. And there's a cellar where we used to store everything in the winter, like a cold cellar, like an underground regular cellar. and it's me opening the door, and unhinging it and looking in, and it's the pair of eyes staring back out at me, catching the last glimpses of light, and it's me offering my hand. And she takes it, and I say, "What is your name?" And it's her responding with, "Give me 2 minutes." Oh, she says, "Elga." I say, "Elga," and I pull her out of that of the cellar.
I love it. Yeah.
And I need to pull my character sheet up because it's been buried. Okay, cool.
Someone. Nice. It's a 7.
Well, it doesn't make sense for it to be inaccurate because the whole thing is my name. So my recollection is incorrect.
It's incomplete.
It is incomplete, yes.
Yeah.
That's what I meant to say with my mouth words.
Okay. Well, take that, mark that memory.
Mm-hmm.
And what's this look like? So when you call her now,
it's a little bit of a reflection of that memory, isn't it?
yeah.
Except instead of me reaching down to her, it's me reaching up and just saying, "Elga."
It takes an impossible long moment for anything to happen. But all the other undead around you have gone still as well. When suddenly she begins to descend. And lands like a good dozen paces away from you. And
there's a rush of air, and like my hair flutters back, and like my cloak, like the fur on my cloak, just like whoosh, whoosh, whoosh.
Yeah.
But I stand firm.
And I think as she lands, this can be felt almost as a shudder in the earth itself as well. Because she's easily 3 times as tall as you are.
I look at her with sadness in my eyes, and I say, "What did they do to you?"
And with that huge hammer, like easily, like lightly carried in one hand, right? Like just held in the middle of the shaft. She approaches slowly. And we get this situation where you're facing each other, right? Like you looking up, she looking down, kind of standing too close. And we have the contrast of the height difference. And your appearance and her appearance. And you more hear her voice in your head than it actually is emanating from her. Though you're sure those undead around you are witnessing this in every detail. And she says, betrayed. I was betrayed. And the first was you. And I think this is when the incomplete memory comes rushing back to you. I think in the immediate aftermath of you finding her, and I think you saw that there was something special in this child, right? Because your mother had as well. That's why she was there, right?
Yeah.
And you recognize this too. But in the struggles that you were caught up in and that followed, I think, and we can shift this around, but I think you made it a kind of like a deal out of pragmatism with this sect that was to become this Church of the Eidolon and everything.
Yeah, no, that makes sense, because I felt like I couldn't protect her and also properly lead my righteous war against the imperial forces that were conquering these innocent people.
Yeah.
And I chose the battle instead of her.
And that was the initial thing that set her on her inevitable path that first led to glory and being beloved and dying a saint in the end. But that also was the thing that then later, way later, was the temptation that drew her, or like that made those people pull her back and into this terrible, terrible existence. Yeah, and if you hadn't decided to fight, if you had just decided to run, to scrounge, forage for food and shelter, her path would have been very different.
And probably a lot happier.
Yeah.
So obviously she says I was the first who betrayed her, and I look up at her and I try to see the curves of like the pieces in her armor where a person would look out, but there's no person inside because she is the armor. She is the armor now, and I look up and I say, I know.
There's this impossible long silence again. I think you're swaying hearts and minds here.
All right. Which one?
I think it's by being insightful and empathic.
Yeah.
It's more that than being stoic and stubborn, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, it makes sense. I failed on my last wisdom roll, even though it's my best stat, so I'm stressing. Oh, fuck yeah. I rolled really good, guys.
Nice.
And I say, I just want to talk to you.
I think I think this is what happens. I think she buckles, and there's this fall as she like crashes to one knee, and like what we see is basically her one awesomely gauntleted and armored arm catching herself, like basically Sivna vanishing just behind that arm in front of that goes down in front of the frame, right? And the next image is her basically kneeling over you and your foreheads touching. And I think that's where we cut for tonight.
Okay.
Nice.
Mirroring how I touched foreheads with the people that I woke. Met some good symbols.
Yeah, let's quickly do XP, right? Because that's what we're really here for. Did anyone resolve a bond as of yet?
Maybe? I feel like something changed.
Certainly, you said you did, right?
Which is the stuff that I talked about earlier, right?
Which is cool if that is it.
Yeah, so Gregor and Auden are both different, but I still haven't resolved how I feel about Auden right now. Well, here's the thing, is Auden knows magic. I want her to be able to redistribute my energy so that other people can remain when I'm gone.
Auden kind of refused to remember anything about that.
Oh, well, but that doesn't matter.
Oh.
So my thing is, Auden has magic. I will convince her to use it. Like, preserve the autonomy of the people that I care about.
I mean, it's between you two.
Is that okay? That I can say that that's how I feel about you now? You're muted, so I can't hear you.
Oh, you missed a lot of good commentary then. I always get muted, and I think I'm talking. And no, that works for me. It's fine.
Yeah.
I was saying Auden pretty much said new phone who dis about doing any helpful magic. My bond changed, but it wasn't resolved, so.
Okay.
And that was with Sivna. Because the prior bond was that Auden felt that Sivna was a noble soul and that she would protect them. But she sold them out, so.
Kinda, yeah.
Well, that is a form of resolution,
Yeah.
though.
It is.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Definitely. And Gregor?
Yeah, I think that now my bond with Auden is the same. We need to have a conversation. I think there's and Gregor's going to probably want to have this conversation before the attack happens. So that's coming up hopefully. But with Sivna, I think I think that there was a resolution there because Sivna has now invested Gregor with more responsibility, and now so Gregor can't maintain the sort of, I don't want to say laissez-faire kind of idea that he had about leaving, letting their people just do whatever they want. And now he's got to kind of step up and help with them in their stead.
Yeah.
If they do not survive this. So, and then it's like something has shifted, and I don't think Gregor even fully understands what has shifted. But I think I'm gonna rewrite that bond. And if Rachel agrees, I think that was resolved.
So I think like the bond that I rewrote for Gregor is the resolution of the bond where I was like, I hate him and I'm gonna stomp him. Because now you've said, there is some stuff that was bad with my order, and I said, yeah, there was. I was right. So I'm going to mark those 2 bonds as resolved. So that gives me.
And any drives? What are your drives? They are under alignment, but
Does help someone or something to meaningfully change apply to the Seraph?
I think so.
Okay. Perfect.
Any of you, the drives of the others?
Mine is to like fix something, and she hasn't done that yet.
Mine is to destroy something corrupted by the fall. It's corrupted by the fall, and unless we get heavily symbolic here, I don't think it's going to happen.
I mean, you did kill Margond and Rathis.
That's true. That's true. I guess we could that happened off camera, but that's
I mean,
fair,
a lot of this session was reflective and play, but it's still play.
Yeah. Okay.
Still a thing you did. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, I'll take that.
And the group questions are: did we destroy something corrupt and dangerous?
I mean, do you count the fiddler as corrupt and dangerous?
Yes. I have hated him since he appeared.
Yeah.
Oh wow! I didn't know you had such. You were carrying such animosity against the fiddler. Yeah. Well, here's also a question.
Well, Auden didn't like him. I mean,
like I have an actual question. Which I'm kind of leaving the session with, but we can collectively answer if we want to. Did what Sivna just do destroy the Seraph? I mean, right? It's not like... I mean, it's Elga's soul that you could argue was kind of saved.
But the Seraph is the giant warrior.
Yeah, this unholy edifice of an armor that was forced to become what it is.
I'm gonna cry. I love the sentiment behind that, because like, yeah, I like that. As
I do too. And you did roll this 10 plus here. Yeah.
That's good. That's very good.
So I just leveled up.
Yeah, that's definitely an XP for everyone. Do we take, liberate, or create a powerful or useful treasure? No one really went for treasure.
I'm never a treasure person.
Yeah.
Treasure.
Yeah, even Gregor, you didn't go for the Dawn Star and stuff.
No, I'm not sure even how that fully works, but that's true. That's true. I need to look into that though.
Did we learn something important about the world before the fall?
Yes.
Yeah, lots, right? So that's an XP for everyone. Do we take a step toward building a new world in the ruins?
Well, if our cooperation is any sign of anything, then that's definitely a step towards
I
making
think
something.
that maybe, yeah.
Yeah, it's a first. I agree. That puts weight behind that. So that's another XP for everyone.
What is it?
Good.
What do you have to get to level up? 5?
Like 7
No,
plus
it's-
current level, isn't it?
It's
Yeah,
7
7.
plus your current level.
Okay,
So
cool.
I'm level 4, and so my level up would have been I needed 11,
Okay.
and now I'm at 13.
Awesome. And you took the veteran one, so you've got more options now.
Hmm. Well, I know
Right.
exactly what I'm taking.
Good. Nice. Yeah. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Like lots of love this session. I gotta say.
Yeah. This was good. A lot of heavy lore came out, and there's a lot going on here. So, if we're, was there anything else at any other end of session stuff we need to get taken care of, or are we good?
No, we're done with the game
Awesome.
side.
All right then. We will go back around and say any final thoughts about the session and where folks can find us online, all those delightful things. I am going to go ahead and we'll start with the RGM, Mathias.
Yeah, you can find me at mthsplgr on Twitter. And back here again tomorrow, right?
Yes.
For the Deep Forest.
Yes, we're doing the Deep Forest tomorrow.
So that's exciting. And on Thursday on Sophie Mai's channel for our game of Monster Hearts, which has been really, really awesome. Last session, someone got their fake Twitter account banned. Not in game, in real life. We were live tweeting during the game and had the feed on stream. It's a lot of fun. And on Friday for our Scum and Villainy game on Katie Faith's channel. And yeah, no, I love this. Thank you for like indulging my love letters, and that gave me great satisfaction.
Well, those I think went really well because that then allowed us to actually forge a path forward through this. So that was really cool. I like that. Even though I thought perhaps I was twisting things around at first, but we'll see how it goes. No, went pretty well. And Rachel.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rachel. You can find me on Twitter at @r_omulus, where I'm always being a little gremlin of a woman. If you want to watch me play games, I am on Katie Faze's channel every Tuesday, and sorry, I just got a phone call from someone I don't know. Every Tuesday and every other Thursday, playing Masks and Witch Quest, respectively. So those are two very different and very fun games. What else am I doing currently? That's it. And here every other Saturday. But if you're interested in what else am I doing? I was going to say I also do a podcast with my friend Dave where we talk about anime and the specific anime, My Hero Academia. That's at Talkademia on Twitter.
Yay! Very cool. And Charlie.
I'm Charlie. You can find me on Twitter at Diet Cream Soda. And this is the only game place you can find me. So good luck with that, FBI. It was very fun session, not fun haha, but fun as in interesting to play and interesting to deal with all of this character development stuff. Had a great time.
Awesome. Yeah, I really loved the amount of world building even and character development that we did this time. It was we delved really into this whole thing, and I think we made it very interesting. And also we've got a kind of a path forward now, and it's I'm really excited to see where this goes. So as for me, I'm Jim Ryan. This is my channel. You can find me here and on Twitter at OtherDoc. That's OTHERDOC. My website is jimyesthatjim.com, where I have my various writings and other things, links to those, and podcasting and all manner of other things. Let's see here. Tomorrow we're doing a one-shot of the Deep Forest that is a variant on the Quiet Year. Sort of a map drawing game, and this one in particular deals with a community of monsters rebuilding after human occupiers have left their forest, and just sort of taking a year to do that, and the different things that happen there before adventurers arrive again, and just come to deal with it. Yeah, it's just this is what happens. This is what happens. They just think adventurers think they own the place, and so that'll be fun, and then. Basically right now not doing we're almost getting ready to start our various things happening in February. Not quite there yet, but soon. But on the weekends, as usual, on Friday afternoons, I do I'm playing Torment Tides of Numenera. On Saturday mornings, I'm playing We Happy Few. This game is every other Saturday, so hopefully in a couple of weeks we'll be back. But then I have started sign-ups for the games, the one-shots that are happening in February. The ones that I'm doing sign-ups for are a couple of games of Numenera that we're having the first couple of Sundays in February. And then the last Sunday of February, there is a friend of mine is going to be on running a Powered by the Apocalypse game that he wrote. Called Bad Streets. It's a sort of a 1970s cop show, gritty crime drama thing, and so I'm very much looking forward to that. And that's Jib, who previously was here playing My Life with Master. Some folks may know him from Happy Jack's RPG podcast, so he'll be here doing that. And so sign-ups are open for those. If you're interested in signing up, just go down below to the RPG sign-up link, and that'll take you over to that page on my website. You can also get there from my website. Go to jimyesthatjim.com and click on Game Sign Up, and you can get there. And there's more information there. So please feel free to do so. Also going to be gearing up very soon. We've got our cast together for the short campaign of Dirty Secrets we're going to be doing on Thursdays in February. So it's coming closer and closer. And we're gonna do a lot of throwing of noir tropes around and seeing what happens. I'm very much looking forward to that. So lots of stuff, awesome stuff coming up. Very excited for it. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching, folks. Thank you all for playing. Take care, and I will see you all of a sudden. Farewell.
Bye.